Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to July 2026 unboxing of row 1. So if you are new to the series or new to my channel this year, I am spending 1 year with row 1, unboxing them with you and trying to use them as they come in. So for the first 4-ish months through April's, I made a shawl, a granny square shawl. Now I am working on, I think it's the Thalassia top. So I've been slowly making progress on that. Now it has been a very busy couple of weeks, so I have not gotten caught up yet. It just, unfortunately, it is what it is. As many of you know, we've had work people here constantly. We've had the AC has been down upstairs. We've had company with the 4th of July and everything else. So it's just been bananas. Actually, as of right now, the reason why I am no makeup and hair just blow dried and all that is my carpenters are taking a break. So since there's no hammering, I thought I'd take an opportunity to film this and share. So we have this ready to come up, but it's been nonstop. I feel like the house is Grand Central Station, and even when somebody isn't here that we've asked to be here, we're having our doorbell rung. And we live in a neighborhood where there's supposed to be no soliciting, but it's constantly like, well, we're working on your neighbor's house. And it's like, no, you're not. I haven't seen you. Like, why are you knocking on my door, disturbing my peace? Anyway, enough about that. So if you're not familiar with row 1, row 1 is a subscription box where you get 10 10-gram minis, and they're from one specific dyer. And I'll have the price up here. If you get 2 subscription boxes, they guarantee you 2 different sets of colorways, as well as your shipping in the US is free. So I think the price for what we're getting is very reasonable, especially when you think about the fact everything has to be broken down into these little 10-gram bite sizes, and everything comes caked up for us in the package. All you have to do is slip the little mini ball band off here, and you can work from the inside or the outside of the little mini cake. So a lot of work goes into the preparation for these. It's not just, you know, like buying a skein and doing all the prep work yourself. So I think the price for this is actually quite fair. At first, I kind of was like, I know it's on the higher end, especially to be getting minis, but truthfully, it's really not. Especially where the prices have gone up in a lot of places for minis in particular. I think this is quite reasonable overall, and I enjoy the experience of getting to know a new dyer. There have been a couple where it's like, I like these colorways from this dyer, but I probably wouldn't just like carte blanche anything from this dyer. And then there have been other ones where it's like, no, if they had a mystery box or a subscription box, I would totally get the subscription box, because like the one I get from Yarnable, it's like, I think I can trust this dyer to produce things in their subscription box that I would want every month, even if it's not just like strictly my chosen colorway. So it's for me, especially where I'm in this like stable position as a crafter. I've kind of learned a ton, and I'm at that point where I'm learning smaller techniques that are more advanced as we go. I'm finding I want to delve more into color in a lot of projects and experience more color. I don't know. This just suits me for where I am right now. So this ended up being a great call to just spend a year with row 1, using it as it comes in and experiencing the whole thing. So if you're interested in what I've gotten for the rest of the year, project updates as we went along with the granny stitch shawl, I highly recommend checking out the previous months. But most of my subscription box reviews are normally a 3-month review. I use the yarn, we do the cost evaluation, and we decide whether or not, like based on estimated retail, it's really worth it. We knew exactly what we were getting each box coming in. We're getting a stitch marker, a light bulb marker, a piece of candy, and 10 10-gram minis for our price. So we knew exactly price-wise where we were coming in on this. It wasn't a question. So I don't know. I'm very happy with where we are so far, having played now with 6 months worth of yarn overall. So first off, let's check in with the Thalassia top before we unbox July. So last time we checked in, I believe I had gotten to the purple color here, and I have only I am almost done. Well, I'm just starting, but I'm almost done with the first panel, just starting the last shell set here. In one of my show and tell videos, I did talk about how I messed up. These are supposed to be double shells side by side with one lace row, and somehow I misread the pattern. So we have 2 lace rows with 1 shell row, which, living in South Carolina, that's probably a good thing, but this is definitely no longer really technically the Thalassia top. It's now Carrie shell top. But it was supposed to be the Thalassia top. Again, we're crocheting. This is a Clover Amore G 4mm. My preferred crochet hook. So, I mean, I made a lot of progress this month, but definitely not as far as I would have preferred, especially since we only have 10 colors in this first section. I think it would have been, you know, I could have had this finished if I'd had just a little bit more time, but again, it's just been Grand Central Station over here. Every week, I'm like, I feel like I'm apologizing for not having time to sit down. But even today, you can tell by the sun coming through the blinds on the bottom here. It's now almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, the day before y'all will see this. And this is the closest to being dressed I could get, and the closest to being quiet it has been since 8 a.m. here. So, yeah. The yarns that I have left are here in this little basket. I have the scraps from the Thalassia top. These are my leftovers from the Thalassia. I have my leftovers from the Granny Square, which are particularly tiny little scripty scraps. These are the ones from doing the half triangles for the Granny Square. So they're larger, but still too small to do rows for the Thalassia. And then I have my 2 oopsie quarter triangles. So lots of little bits still floating around in my bag. My Pemberley bag is still the bag for the year here. But let's, oh, by the way, this is from Target. I will try to do a tag for that. I am finding that very easy to use as a grabbing spot for my little minis. So let me set my bag to the side and we'll crack on with our note about the dyer as well as our stitch marker. So our dyer this month is Bird's Nest Stitchery. This is the Celadon base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon fingering, 400 yards. If you're familiar with the Knit Picks yarn, this is more similar to like the Hawthorne yarn. It's a husky fingering weight. We've had this, our second one that's kind of on this type of base. The other one, it's the one that had all the greens in it, greens and browns. I can't remember which month that was. Most of the other ones have been more similar to like Cascade Heritage or Stroll in the weight and feel. It is feeling warm in here, which does not bode well for my AC, which means I'm going to have to call my AC guy back out again. Robin, I am not going to attempt to say her last name. It says, I'm a very, very passionate about yarn and most needle crafts, crochet, cross stitch, needlepoint, punch needles, sewing, and quilting. I spend most of my time knitting, but I also enjoy crocheting baby blankets and amigurumi. After knitting for several years, I became very curious about the yarn dyeing process. So many wonderful colors and infinite combinations. I love to share my passion with you and your yarn adventures. Robin dyes in her studio in Madison, Alabama. I did not know there was Madison, Alabama, so I just learned something even extra. I find it fascinating, like the crossover state names, like the city names, town names, that like there's a Madison in Wisconsin, there's a Madison in X, there's a, you know, I don't know. I know I'm weird. We've talked about this in previous episodes. I'm just a little kooky. There are weird things that fascinate me. So this month's little sweet treat is little latte espresso candies, little hard candies. Again, I don't generally eat refined sugar, so these probably not so bad. These probably won't make my joints hurt, but by and large, I generally pass those off to my grandkids or to my husband and let him have the sweet treats. And our stitch marker is a little ladybug. So I am going to put our light bulb marker on here. And we're going to pin this onto my top and mark my progress here. Oh, good grief. You know, when your fingers aren't working and it just makes everything take 5 times longer. It's like when you're trying to send somebody a really quick text and then all of a sudden it's like your fingers won't work, your phone won't load, and it takes you 5 times longer to do it than entirely necessary. That's kind of how that happened. So, I do apologize for the crinkles here. I'm just going to dump these guys out. Here. Hold on just 1 second. All right, now that all the crinkling is done, I did check the temperature in here, and it is not what it's supposed to be. So if I'm a little extra fleshy looking, that would be why, because the temperature is just going up. Anywho, so we ended up, just as I dumped these out, we have 2 triplets and 2 doubles that kind of just perfectly pair off together. So first off, we have Lichen Floor and Petal Dance. Then the other double we have is Tang and Peach Blossom, and I will always forever think of Astronaut Drink. I love that just like subtle kiss of the orange throughout the peach blossom there. Then for the first triplet, we have Heart of a Vampire, Distant Glow, and Blueberry Pop. And see, on camera, those don't look as great together, but for some reason on the desk, they did. So maybe it's more Distant Glow and Vampire. And then this is Smoke and Mirrors and Rain Dance. And finally, Pond Fairy. I just love the name for that. So no, Pond Fairy really wouldn't go with this one. So these two are kind of like the outliers. And I actually think I have another one from another month that will go with both of these, to be honest. So these may find their way into the sweater, whereas the others may start a new project. So in the Thalassia top, I have 10 colors in there already. I had 4 left over from April. Then I had 10 for June, or no, 10 for May, then 10 for June. So I should have more than enough now to finish that top. And I've just got to make my decision of how I want the colors to lay out for the other half, especially since I have the blues stacked up right around the collar. I'm probably going to want to do 3 colors on 3 here. So like if I've got one other purple, that might work. Now the yardage on this is a little bit shorter than the other one, so I'm not quite sure if this will match, although I do have a fairly sizable leftover running so far. So it could be like with this, that these slightly chunkier 400 yards for 100 grams, those were just enough to finish the squares in the shawl. So those may be just enough to finish the stripe in the top. So I might pair this with another purple that I already have and do like blue on this side with the purple on this side. I think that could be kind of spiffy there. But otherwise, I like the color combination here. I really am enjoying like the playing with the greens and the purples. To me, like if I'm doing a fall palette, like this is kind of more what I'm thinking of instead of like the browns. Even though brown is a better looking neutral than black. Black tends to wash me out. Really bad choice on a day where you're not wearing makeup and you're being underlit by by your natural light. But browns, while flattering on me, don't tend to be what I gravitate towards, but I do like a dusky purple, plum, wine, things like that with greens. And that's kind of like more where my brain goes for like those fall color palettes. So like for some reason, these four together and just that like little hint of copper that you have running through Petal Dance there just kind of gives life to that. I don't have anything else. I mean, Pond Fairy actually goes really well with Peach Blossom and Tang here. So like if you wanted to play with some of that trio together, that would be a very, very lovely combination. Blueberry Pop is kind of out on its own over here. So that's kind of funny because normally that would go better. And at first it did seem to go with these, but now that I see it on camera, it's just too stark. As we do with the Yarnable, you know, just pairing the colors together is just so much fun for me. I like different combinations of things, and I think different eyes on things are nice. Actually, Rain Dance would still go with it, but it doesn't quite go. Well, maybe it does. Rain Dance kind of is a nice in-between for these. There you go. That makes that a triplet. Anyway, I'll show you the picture at the end of everything laid out together, and you'll see kind of like the way I thought of the colors, color planning, things like that. So anyway, I am going to head off. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, fantastic weekend. As always, I love you. I look forward to seeing you all real soon. Bye, you guys.